today's Ludgate Member Spotlight, we're joined by Graham Clarke of BaseWorx. Graham, thanks so much for joining us. So Graham, BaseWorx, tell me your story. Tell me how you have ended up in West Cork. And obviously your story is unique because you were founded and have grown out of Portishead, another hub. And here you are, you've part of the team is in Portishead, and then also you've got another two members, yourself included, here in Ludgate, Skibbereen.
Yeah, so we started, I suppose, I met my co-founder, 3 years ago. Well, I met him, I went to Galway in 16 and met him then, just with the job I had, I was actually running a co-working space. And Keith was one of the first guys I'd met outside of work, and we hit it off straight away. So when I left my job then 3 years ago, myself and Keith was kind of finishing up on a project he'd been in, and we said we'd always kind of over points and always said we'd kind of maybe do something in the future, and the opportunity was just right to do something. So starting out, look, Keith's background, he's been working in software since the 90s, so like he'll always claim he's 14 languages, so coding languages and all that kind of stuff. So he's seen the progression of the language types, and it's what. Yeah, so look, he knows the stuff basically, and so I joined Keith 3 years ago, and initially we just started out work just at a standard agency, software agency, and just because I suppose we're our own backgrounds with startups, and this was the network we were kind of involved in Galway. We found ourselves very quickly working with startups, and kind of not so much in the e-commerce brochure sites type of thing, which look is its own thing. So that was great. We got to work on other startups with other people, and we still do. But we kind of said, look, if we're going to be working with startups, it's only right that really, as I say, we eat the dog food and we do it ourselves. So Keith had built a very early version of BaseWorx, and had that in stock, if you like. We sat down and went through what he had built in the past, and with my background in co-working, Keith, the fact that he'd been in Portishead since inception, we felt we had a good enough knowledge of how they work, and so we started BaseWorx essentially, and then with that I suppose we built a partner where we were working on with our own clients in Guido, the agency. In fairness, look, we know the landscape when it comes to resources and funding and all the great kind of supports that we have here in Ireland. So we put it through the New Frontiers. I stepped away from the agency, and Keith took over that entirely, and we set up BaseWorx, and we put that through the New Frontiers program in Limerick. Super program, even having had the exposure to startups and that as I had, it was really, really good. I found it really, I suppose, really effective in putting plans together. I think that was something that I probably lacked.
So giving you the roadmap as such.
Exactly, that's the word. Roadmap all the way. So my own background is in finance, so I found the financials and projections and forecasts and business plans quite straightforward.
It's really important as well.
Yeah, exactly. So then with keeping the technical side of the business, it was great for me to, I suppose, tie all that into technical roadmaps, and look, Keith's a fountain of knowledge, and I can continue to learn from the guys. So coming out of BaseWorx, I suppose, coming out of New Frontiers, then I suppose we were ready, the roadmap, we were at the stage of the roadmap where we could actually start talking to clients, and we very much went out in our first early stage clients, fantastic, really patient with us. They really took on board that we were a startup, not everything was going to be perfect, but we used them, and we used them as our live feedback, and we continue to I suppose craft the product into what it is today,
So in terms of that product then, Graham, has it changed or has it evolved from your initial idea when you were on that New Frontiers program?
Massively. So the New Frontiers program we were on was in 19, pre-COVID, all this kind of thing. I found myself I suppose, standing in front of panels and stuff, explaining the idea of hybrid working, flex working, all these words now that have kind of been pulled into the mainstream because of COVID. So that I had to do that education.
So you guys were at the forefront of all of this in a way.
Look, there's always someone there ahead of you. So I mean, our competitors, our direct competitors at the time would have had a couple of years on us, but I suppose we were taking, like anything, we were taking advantage of being small, agile, and be able to adapt to what we were seeing in the co-working market. But so COVID hit, and I was based in Galway at the time, and I came home here to West Cork, and the mother had a bit more space than we had in Galway. And look, we got through COVID, and we just ended up deciding to stay in West Cork. But coming out of COVID, and I suppose we start kind of coming out, going in and out now, and we're starting to come out of it for good, please God. We've seen all of a sudden that our product, the initial original product that we had envisaged, has now become a Me Too product, and it's very difficult to stand out because I suppose everybody had the great idea while COVID happened. So even though we might have had a slight bit of a head start, that's now gone. It's entirely gone.
Okay. And more competitors are in this space.
More competitors, and look, nothing we've done is earth-shattering. You know, it's booking desks just like you book a hotel room. You know, booking systems have been around since the advent of the internet, right? So we very quickly, what we did, I suppose, with BaseWorx is we identified the booking desks and facilities and access management and all these kind of things that make the doors open and close and let people, you know, get their bums in the seat and in and out and all that kind of stuff. That's the key and that's the core, and that should be just like standard. What we have done is we actually installed a full social network into it, with an internal messenger and all this kind of good stuff. And then we actually added a full content editor or front end editor onto it as well. So what we were finding, what I saw in co-working spaces, is that in order to run it, you needed your WordPress or Squarespace, you needed your SCADA or Yarn plugin into that, you needed your WhatsApp or your Slack group to run that, then you needed to use Eventbrite and Meetup. So what we did was we took all these components, which to be honest, they're not like it's not really heavy tech, you know, and we put them all into one box. So you have one single login, you go in, you can edit your website,
they're all integrated,
set up an event, run your blogs, all that kind of stuff. So I found myself working in co-working spaces that you'd have a graphic designer sitting next to a web designer, and I'd have the web designer say to me like, look, I'm looking for someone to do a logo for me. Brendan here beside you will do it for you. And say, oh Jesus, I hadn't, you know. So what we'd seen that community was the aspect that a lot of our competitors were missing. Right. So we put all that in, hopefully with the idea of getting them all talking. And because as you know yourselves here in the Ludgate, there's the facilities management, but then it's creating that community. It takes a lot of shoe leather and a lot of you know, and it's a key part. And I've often said
it's collaboration.
If you don't have a community in a co-working space like the Ludgate, all you are is an internet cafe where you bring your laptop. That's essentially it. So that's where we kind of saw ourselves becoming different, but no, everybody's onto that. So the product has evolved majorly in the last 12 months.
You guys have not stood still at all.
No, we don't, and as I said, we still have the agency going on in the background. So so that then is kind of, you know, we have a lot going on.
So tell me then, in terms of connected hubs, which, you know, that's everybody's familiar with that now in terms of that centralized booking platform. You guys are at the forefront of that. You guys have integrated BaseWorx into the connected hubs platform, whereby there could be a centralized booking system across all of the hubs around Ireland.
Yeah. So what happened with us, I suppose, we'd always had with the social network piece, we'd always kind of said, wouldn't it be great if we could have, you know, the Ludgate on the BaseWorx with a crowd in Killybegs, somewhere Donegal. We'd always had that vision, and just look at the draw, or I don't know what you call it, and we seem to align with the guys from the Western Development Commission and their ambitions to create the AEC corridor of a connection of hubs, and that then evolved as a project into Connected Hubs, for which we were lucky enough to win the tender. So when you say what we did, I suppose, in a sense, we took the core of what we kind of built in BaseWorx, and we used that to, I suppose, again, we work really closely with the Western Development Commission, and we worked very closely with them to build it. It's actually a really tailored and bespoke product for what those guys need. So it's entirely different. It's the same, but it's different. If that makes sense. Yeah. So it's its own beast in a sense, you know. Yeah. But it's super exciting. I mean, it started off as a project that was going to be, you know, as I said, down the west coast. Now it's the whole country. For us as a company, it's great. I mean, the hub managers around the country, like, they're all a lot of them are not for profits. A lot of people are in there and they're really passionate about their community. And I'm lucky enough, I speak to a lot of them on a daily basis, and it's good that passion's infectious, you know. Then we get some great feedback, which allows us to improve the product. So look, Connected Hubs went live in May, and just a couple of false starts with COVID, and then it's got the big push now this month, and we're hoping, if this is Connected Hubs at its advent, and a really good roadmap.
Yeah.
So we're just excited to see how far we can take that and
Fantastic.
what part we can play. You know.
So in terms of your customer base, is it Ireland or are you expanding that reach?
So this is the thing. So as I said, we don't see the point anymore of being dug into, you know, the individual hubs. We're now looking further afield, and we're looking. What we're starting to see now in a global thing, a global, I suppose, manner is you know, other countries, municipalities, county councils across Europe. You know, will hopefully look for this umbrella type product that we have now. We see a lot of franchises. You know, the new tranche of WeWorks, if you like, you know, cropping up everywhere from you know, it's everywhere really, essentially, you know, everywhere from Dubai to Israel to further east even. So we're just, again, it's just kind of we're just going to see what happens, I think. But
so you're going to be busy building out that roadmap as such to expand into those markets.
Yeah, please God. I mean, look, as the product in itself, I mean, you know, will evolve. You know, everything from we know door access controls. There'll be accounting integrations coming in. All the standard stuff is coming in, but then we have some other kind of nice piece that we kind of want to keep to our chest, I suppose, at this stage, which it's going to evolve.
So you're here in Skip for good.
So far, yeah, looks like it, yeah. So yeah, as I said to yourself and the guys here, we lived in Galway and it was great, and it was really, you know, always someone to go out with, and we were socialising, working and socialising throughout the week, and we spend the weekends just kind of hanging out, chilling out. But the time down here during COVID has been great, and you know, my other half's from Galway, and just the thoughts of going back at this stage is, we're not in a rush, you know, we're kind of happy with how things are down here.
Galway is beautiful as well.
I love Galway.
It's stunning.
Yeah,
Great city.
And I've often said I never would have left it, to be honest. I could, and I said it to my own family, that I could see myself settling there, and I would have settled there, only for the ways of the world and how it worked out. But no, it's great, love it down here. I mean,
but you've the best blend now between Portishead and Ludgate.
Great, yeah. I mean, as you're saying, our team is split between Portishead and Ludgate, and look, it's not going to mean that we're just Portishead and Ludgate. This was, we, you know, to use the term again, we need to eat the dog food. So we'll be, when we do hire, we'll be hiring. Hopefully, we're here within Ireland, but you know, we do really buy into what we're building with the whole hybrid, and I can, you know, with the whole hybrid working and remote working, and you know, not necessarily living in the urban centres, you know, giving our the staff that opportunity to live and work where they want.
Really important, really important, and we're seeing a big push towards that. Graham, thank you so much for joining us today and for taking time out of your busy schedule. Thanks a million.
Yeah, thanks a lot.